Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner Studio, and with me today is Stephanie Short. She is running for the Warren County School Board in the Happy Creek District. Welcome, Stephanie. Appreciate it. So the first question we ask everybody is, why in the world do you want to be on the school board?
Well, I think there are many issues that the school board is facing, many decisions that they have to make, and I want to be a part of that. When Mr. Wells announced his retirement, I met with him and he encouraged me to run, and so I talked to my family and friends and decided it was the perfect opportunity to continue my community, my service to the community and the local youth.
Sure. Now, you made the comment, you spoke to your family, so it's always good to have
Yes.
family support
Yes.
for any of these kind of adventures. You
Yes.
know, my wife has put my thumb on, no, you are not going to run for any more offices. So you really need it because it takes a lot of time.
It does.
It takes a lot of time to participate, even in the school board. It's demanding. So what are some of the issues that you're really passionate about?
Well, there are, like I said, lots of decisions that the school board is going to be facing, some that they've already faced. There are certain things that I think that, like, I don't believe critical race should be taught in schools. I think that I'm very concerned about the political agenda that seems to be being pushed in the schools right now, because schools should be for educating, not for indoctrinating. I'm also concerned about the drop in academic standards and classroom discipline over the last 50 years. You know, I think that with a $64 million school budget,
it's a big chunk,
and less than 5,000 kids, there should be something that we should be able to do to help to better help the students and their families.
Right.
Better serve them.
Yeah, you divide that out. That's $10,000, $12,000 per
A little over
student.
12,000.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
And it's like 4,900 students out of 6,500 school age children in Warren County, and 64 million is a big chunk.
Yeah, it's one of the large, and it's one of our largest employers.
Yeah.
And we have over 800 plus employees in the school system. It just seems unreal, doesn't it? Just like, where are all those people at?
Until I started looking into it, I knew we had a high budget, but I didn't realize $64 million, you know. But then when you think about it, it's 12,000 a student, and, you know, there just has to be a way to better use the resources that we've been given.
Yeah. So it's a strange, you know, that we also have this area that you mentioned, 6,500. There's a lot of students that are going to private schools, and they're going to homeschooling, and we have a large homeschooling system here in Warren County, and you know, there's several reasons why people go to private schools and homeschooling, and a lot of them is where they just don't feel like they're getting a good education out of the public system.
Yeah, sometimes they're not being. It may be the education aspect. It may be that they're special needs and they're not getting the services they need. It could be religious reasons.
Sure.
I have experience in all those settings. We've done private school, we've done homeschooling, we've done an online virtual academy, and of course public school. My oldest two have graduated from Warren County High School. So I think that parents should have the choice to choose what is the best for their children.
Right.
And if it's homeschooling, it's homeschooling. If it's private school, it's private school. But we should make sure our public schools are giving the best education that they can and all the resources needed to make those students succeed.
I think I've told several other candidates that have been here my story. Working at one of our clients was the a school's curriculum development association, and years ago Lee Iacocca was the keynote address speaker, and he basically, when he was the head of Chrysler, you know, he went to the Detroit school system and said, "You've got to guarantee your students. They're coming to us, and we're spending millions of dollars to retrain them in just basic things." And so they formed a partnership that they're going to guarantee their students meet these requirements, and that's kind of what these testings and things are about. When you send me a kid that can't read or write, you got to take care of that. And so the school system took the children that couldn't perform back and retrained them before they went to work for Christ. I thought it was an interesting
It's a good
thing. So, but I think it goes back to what you're saying is we have to turn out a better product.
right, and the community helping that school, that would be great to have community involvement, have parents and community members helping pick the curriculum, helping, any issues need to be brought to the school board. If you're having an issue with the school, you need to bring it to the school board so that because the school board doesn't know what it doesn't know.
Exactly.
So if you're not talking to your school board, you're not attending the school board meetings, then how are they supposed to fix any of your problems?
Right. Well, school board is really the budget and policy, and then they have a higher superintendent, and he hires a team, and they're supposed to implement these policies and things. The state is really coming down. You mentioned some of these theories. The state is some of these policies that we're talking about have been mandated, or we'll use that word mandated. They call them policies, but it's pretty much dictating what you're going to do.
Right.
Is there a pushback, you think, on that? Some school boards have been trying to do that, but
Well, and Warren County did vote no originally to the transgender policy, and then they decided that they needed to pass it, to fulfill the requirement of the Virginia State Department of Ed and the state of Virginia. There was a lawsuit, and the judge from parents, and the judge dismissed it, but in his briefing said that he didn't feel that parents had the right to sue for this particular issue, that school boards needed to. So there is precedent if the school boards want to pursue that. Now, whether Warren County will or not, they voted to pass it now. There is an uproar of parents that are upset about this.
Right.
Especially given the case in California recently where the gentleman was arrested at a spa, and they're concerned that would happen in our schools.
Sure.
Because it doesn't just affect the schools, it affects anyone who visits the schools.
Right.
So I would like to see some pushback. I think that we need to decide what's right for our students. We need to protect all students. And if what the state of Virginia or the Department of Ed is coming down is not what we agree with, you have to stand for something. What's the old song? Stand for nothing.
That's right.
You stand for something, or you stand for nothing.
That's
whatever.
exactly Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you need to figure out what that is, and if it's worth standing up for.
Right. Because what we don't want is a school board that just rubber stamps everything without really asking questions.
Right.
And we've gone through stages like that throughout our lifetime, but it just seems different. I've talked to everyone, and you really get the impression that this just today is not like it was when we were kids.
No.
You're much younger than I am, but
it's not like it was when I was in school. It's completely different. It's not even like it was when my kids started school. My oldest will be 23 this year, and it's nothing. Some of the issues that are coming up in these schools are not anything I would have thought as a parent I would have to deal with my own children in a public school system. Right. And I think it's slowly been easing up on parents, and no one realized it until last year with the
It's kind of like cooking a frog. You put it in cold water and you turn the heat up, and it gradually, it really feels good. It's warm and fuzzy, and next thing you know, by then it gets to a point where it's too late.
Right.
And I think that's kind of the thing that's going to happen in society as a general if we don't really pay attention and have involvement. And I keep telling the same stories because I like them, But my two of my children are teachers, and they've taught in Warren County, they've taught in Prince William County, and same thing is they have Parent-Teacher Day, and out of 63 students, they had one parent showed up. Yeah. And you talk about parental involvement. It's just like we take our children and just turn them over to the schools, and then we forget that.
Well, and I think that changed a lot with the last year and being virtual and the kids being home, and the parents were seeing more of what was going on, and now they're hopefully becoming more involved. I've seen more parents at the last school board meetings than ever. I've been attending school board meetings over the last 20 years, or 18 or whatever it is, and I've never seen as many parents come to school board meetings as have in recent months.
Right, and you're right. I think this virtual system has made people aware, parents aware of, whoa, really? You know, and they didn't really realize
Right.
the intensity because, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, I think education is going to change. You know, you hear the last time we had a pandemic in the 1919. You know, education changed. They went.
Right.
You know, the process of educating our children changed, and I think this pandemic is forcing a change again. We've done it pretty much the same way for 50, 60 years, and all of a sudden, by force, you know, we're forced to say, "Oh, whoa, there's got to be another way to do it."
Well, and change isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you can always improve. That's kind of my motto. You can always improve. There's always something you can change to make it better.
Well,
It's just finding what you want to change.
Well, you know, the question you ask is that is this your best effort? Is this the best you can do? You don't even have to criticize something.
Right.
Just simply ask, is that the best you can do? And most people will take it back. Well, let me look at it again.
Yeah, does this best serve our students?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot going on, and what we're doing, we're going to try to talk to all the candidates. We will talk to all the candidates, ones that are willing to come and talk to us. We want to share their views to the public here in Warren County, and this is just the beginning. So we've been we've been easy on you. And,
I appreciate that.
But there's going to be some hard questions coming forth. There's some of the Chamber of Commerce will be having a forum. There are no hard questions there. Normally, there might be a few, but you know, parents need to take a active role in our school. Where even people that their children are grown, and their
Oh, yes.
grandchildren are going to be coming up, and their great grandchildren. So school doesn't stop. You know, this.
Even if your students are not currently in the public school system, the majority of students are in a public school system. So that is going to influence your children at some point. They're going to be your employers or
Well, that's the
coworkers
thing. That's exactly
or
right.
political, you know,
Exactly.
right.
Exactly. That's the thing to remember. The education system touches every person in our society. Like you say, if it's not today,
It will eventually.
It'll be tomorrow. So it's something to really think about.
Right.
Well, we'll cut this off now, but we'll get back in a couple of weeks. We're going to try to have everybody come in once or twice, 3 times maybe. We'll see how it goes because there's a lot of issues that are going to be coming forth as you're going around knocking on doors, which you've already done some
Yeah.
of. And you start talking to people, different things will come up and that you'll need to address and think about. And so we want to get those opinions from you and everyone else as well. So we appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Now remember, I want to remind people that early voting starts September 17th at the registrar's office here in Warren County. So please
Get out and vote.
get out and vote. You know, you think you're not going to make it at the polls, which, you know, I kind of like voting on election day, but
Me too.
there's some people, though, that do want to vote early, and you can do that now. So it starts September 17th. If you're in the Happy Creek District, we appreciate you looking for Stephanie here. She comes around, knocks on your door, and ask her the questions you want to ask.
Yes,
and remember,
please.
there's several other, we have 3 seats coming up. We have the North River, we have Happy Creek, and Fork. So there's a lot of important things going on in our election coming up. So be aware of what's going on, and we appreciate it. And we will have these candidates back soon. Thank you.
Thank you.